Hey guys, I have another page in my mini junk journal to share with you today. This surface is actually just like cheapy 65-pound cardstock that I'm working on, and I didn't put a layer of gesso down because I knew I was going to use a lot of like glue on top of it first. So I'm going to adhere this chipboard piece by Wow Studio, and I glued it down with some glossy accents at first. Spoiler alert, it doesn't work. So, and then I'm also gonna adhere some of these stars that I cut from also cheapy cardstock using the Tim Holtz die. I think it's called Stars and Moon, or Moon and Stars. It cuts out these stars, and then it also a moon shape, which I was gonna use the moon shape from that die, but it's just like a little too big for the page. But then I realized I had this chipboard piece from Wow Studio, which I like a lot better because it's a lot more dimensional. So I'm just gluing my pieces down with some Collage Page Matte, which is my favorite liquid glue, and I'm making sure that some of my stars go off the page, like they're hanging off a little bit, and I'm going to trim them, but I just think that's more visually pleasing. So then I'm going to go in with the second layer of the glossy accents. Really trying to make those glossy accents work. So I trimmed off the extra stars that are hanging over there, and then I'm going to cover the whole thing with heavy gesso. This is the Blick heavy gesso, and I'm making sure I'm getting in all those cracks and crevices around the moon, and I'm covering all the stars. So it didn't matter that I didn't put gesso down originally. Oh, I totally skipped the part. I actually adhered the moon with my glue gun because the glossy accents weren't holding. I don't know where that clip went, but yeah, so glossy accents no, glue gun yes. So my idea was that I wanted to use watercolors on my page and make them like really soft and ethereal looking, because it's like stars and the moon. And then I got out my twinkling H2Os because I wanted like a little bit of that shimmer rather than using like regular watercolors. And at this point, so this page was actually the very first page I had done after I made the junk journal, so I did not have my Daniel Smith minerals watercolors, which would have been perfect for this, but I didn't have them at this time. So I'm just gonna take a whole bunch of colors and drop them in, and I didn't use a whole lot of water, so the color is like really strong and really saturated. And that's when I decided I wanted my page to take a little bit of a different turn, so it wasn't like, you know, like more bold than I had originally planned. But you know, that's how these things go. They don't go as you plan them, and they turn out all right anyway. So I'm just going in with my colors, and then after some of them dry, I'll go in with a little bit of darker colors. And I'm just trying to be mindful of colors that make mud when they mix, because I do not want that. I'm not being really that careful with it, but just trying to be a little mindful of it. And while I'm doing this, I just want to thank everybody for purchasing a journal. If you did, I think I sold like over 20 of them, which thank you so much for buying them. I hope that you'll have fun creating in yours like I'm having so much fun creating in mine, and we can work together. And if you didn't get one and you wanted one, I'm really sorry. I kind of got burnt out making them. I was relisting them, but I got a little burnt out making them. I was spending all my time making them and not making art, and that was not making me a happy girl. So I decided to just shut it down, stop making more. So maybe in the future there'll be more or different ones, because I'm really on this journal making kick lately. It's super fun to work in your a journal that you made yourself, or one that has like really unusual pages. I'm really liking that. So I dried that first layer of color, and then I'm going in with the second layer just to get them really bold, really bright. And then I'm going to go over the whole thing with some Dina Wakley gesso. And this gesso, the gesso I used originally was heavy gesso, so it covered like the chipboard. I wanted a heavier gesso so it would cover the chipboard moon and everything. But the Dina Wakley gesso is just like regular gesso. It's thinner and it dries back. You know, you could still see some of the colors through because it's watercolors, and like the gesso activates it a little bit, so you could still see some of the colors through it. So I'm just taking my palette knife and scraping along, and then I noticed there that as it was drying, it like separated and made this crackle look. Freaking cool. I don't know why it did that, but I think it's so awesome. So yeah, so I just wanted to show you that there. And then after I used my palette knife to like scrape around, it caught some of the texture, but I wanted to use a paintbrush to get more around my moon there. And I dried that first layer, and there wasn't enough gesso for me. It wasn't covering enough of that color up. So I go in with the second layer, and honestly, I was really trying to get some more of those cracks going on. They're really cool, really unexpected. A lot of times unexpected things are not that great, but this was really delightful. And then I was like, I'm gonna go over the whole thing with gesso, really, so that the colors aren't so bright. And that's when I changed directions back to my original idea that I wanted things like a little more muted. So I went over the whole thing with gesso, and then I'm gonna go back in with my palette knife and some more gesso, because the color really seeped through the gesso. And then I'm gonna add some glass bead gel, which I love this stuff, and I haven't used it in a long time, and I don't know why, but it's fantastic on watercolors because it's just like these clear beads in like a gel medium, and then the gel medium dries clear, and then all you see is this glorious like glassy thing going on. And with the watercolors, it really picks up that shimmer and that color, and it really looks cool. And then when I had like the circular element of the glass beads, I thought I'd get out some of my Finnabair these beady things, and you'd think I would be more prepared with names of things, but no, just wing it. So I'm going in with the medium and the small version, and I'm just sprinkling them around. And since the glass bead gel wasn't dry yet, I'm letting them catch on the glass bead gel, so I didn't have to add any extra more. Okay. I didn't have to add any extra adhesive to get them to stick down. And that's how it looks once it's dry. I hope in the still photos you can see it a lot better. I was going to add like a quote or something, but once I got to this point, I really liked it, and I was afraid to mess it up. Do you guys ever do that? You're like afraid to mess it up because you like it so much, so you don't do anything. So yeah, that's what happened. So you can kind of see, I wish you could see the, I mean, the glass beads are really incredible. And yeah, so that's my page for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye, guys.